Hi everyone, welcome to This Moment and the Diamond Mothering, presented by Caroline and Lisa. Welcome back, everyone. We're here to illuminate the core of the feminine force, and we're so thrilled that you're here with us. And we have a little kind of personal story again tonight. A little gem for Lisa to talk about our calling. Because we hear about this word a lot, and it's hard to really put define how to define it, because it's so personal to each of us. And for people who have actually experienced it, it's amazing to hear their own personal story so that we can maybe try to see where that might be turning up in our lives. So Lisa, it'd be amazing if you could share with us like what you understand that to mean and how that might have showed up for you with your work in the world today.
Thanks, Caroline. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I was thinking about this because I thought this would be a great discussion for all of us, because I'm seeing more and more women are coming to me to work with me because they're feeling this calling, and the word is being used a lot right now, and it's generating feelings of feeling stuck and feeling disconnected. That's a really big one, feeling disconnected, like I know what I'm doing or I'm in my life and I'm here and yet I'm not here. It's like I've got this feeling like I'm experiencing this, but I'm not really experiencing it. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to start there because I think that has a lot to do with our calling. For me, I remember sort of like, I don't know, like maybe as long back as forever, but definitely from, like my early 20s when I had a husband, I had children fairly early in my life. And I remember always feeling this feeling that there was something that I needed to find. And it was like this, it was insistent. It was like it kept me going to workshops, it kept me opening books, it kept me trying to make things better. And the calling was inside of me, and yet I sort of projected it out. So rather than thinking this is inside of me, what I thought was, oh, I can make this relationship better. I know there's a better way of doing a relationship. I know that I can fix this. I know that I can resolve it. If only I could blah, blah, blah. So with my kids, I know that I could make this better. If only I could get them to do this, or if only I could. So it was inside me, but I was projecting it out onto everything around me. And it was this feeling that there was a better way to do things, that there was a better place to be, a more satisfying place to be, a happier place to be. I just knew that there was something better than what I was doing. I didn't know at the time that it was actually within me, and it was all about this calling. And then what happened to me, I had this all the way through until I was about 37. And then I started to actually wake up to myself, and I started to own my feelings, and I started to work with my emotions. And I started to see that if I had an emotional need, often it was projected out, and I learned how to deal with those emotional needs. So I felt more in control of my life, not in control as in making things happen, but I wasn't frightened of anything anymore. I wasn't frightened of my emotions. I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't, feeling out of control and scared that some emotion would come up and I would end up in a situation that I couldn't control. Mm-hmm. And I also felt more connected. I noticed. In fact, no, I didn't notice. What happened was one day I realized that I felt connected to my life. And one day I realized that I hadn't had that calling for a really long time. It was like, oh, actually, I felt so comfortable. I felt so at ease. I just haven't needed to search for anything. Like I still learn things, like seeking is a normal part of a human being, but it's like I'm so comfortable.
Mm.
in myself. There's no calling to be something other than what I am because I'm home. And I didn't, it just sort of landed upon me one day. I went, oh, actually, I don't have that anymore. And that was like a huge realization for me.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that it's the emotional work. You know, it's like feeling our feelings and being in the emotional experience of life. Because for me, I was in an experience of life,
Mm.
but I wasn't feeling it. And I'm a feeling being. I'm a human being. If I don't feel, then my experience is disconnected, because an experience is a feeling thing, right? You can't have an
Mm. Mhm.
experience without a feeling. So if I have an experience and I'm not feeling it as well, if I'm suppressing or shutting down or denying that, then I'm going to feel disconnected because I'm not really here in this experience.
Yeah.
So for me, the key was really understanding myself emotionally and being fully engaged in each moment. And then what happened was that calling disappeared, and it became a much larger expression of, now I know what I'm here to do in the world. You know, now this
Yeah.
creative part of me totally awakened, awakened,
Woke. Yeah.
whatever it did, it
Woke
came
up.
out. It woke up. That's right. It woke up. And then that became like, we can sometimes talk about our calling as what we're going to do. And I mean, and we do, but it was like all of me was feeling this movement towards a greater version of myself. All of me was feeling this movement towards being able to share what I know with others, being able to speak what I know, being able to teach others.
Yeah.
So the inner calling, once I healed that, actually manifested as what I was here on this planet to do in its fullness. And it was satisfying, and it still is really satisfying, and it really has impacted my relationships. So I really wanted to share that with you, because it's been sitting with me for the last couple of days, because I've had so many women come to me lately saying this, and I'm like, I do believe this is a time on the planet where we have to move out of all the things that don't serve us, where we have to get reconnected. If we want to survive as a species, this is about connecting to our true selves. You know, it's about flourishing. And Carolyn, you had a beautiful statement this morning, and I don't know that I can recall it exactly, but it's like the flourishing of, you know, the way we will flourish as a species is when we understand our true selves. It was something along those
Yes.
lines. And I thought,
Yeah.
true education, right? That's
Yeah.
true education.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, exactly. And it's so amazing. What a story. And it's actually just mirrors the same as myself, that really the truth of life is that you have to be present to be in life, like to be alive, to be actually living life, you have to be present. So like
Mm,
that really, when you're outside of your life, you're in the future and you're in the past, you know. So when you kind of come into presence, then you're starting to you know, I suppose what the emotional work that you did was like that archaeology, I call, like, you know, you're digging down underneath all the layers of emotion that when you weren't present, you're in the past or the future, you're not actually processing, because you're kind of, you haven't actually, you haven't owned them, you haven't embraced them, you haven't, you know, you haven't had that education, I guess, you know, that kind of way. So it's just, you know, I absolutely experienced that as well. And it kind of like the guidance then kind of takes over your life then, and you're kind of just live a life. I was thinking, like, you know, the way birds, when they travel from like Ireland to Africa like once a year. You wonder, how are they going to get there? How do they get there? You know, they're in that flow with that kind of magnetism that just pulls them. Like it's like life is pulling them in a certain direction, and they're just flying. But they have this knowing within themselves, and they're in that flight, the path. You know, that just they're there to go, and it's what they've been designed to do. You know, and like that, I think, you know, the fact that when we all come into our true selves like that, you know, society has the amazing chance to flourish. You know, it's like flourish by design, by divine design, you know, that it's just, this is what we're meant to be doing, you know. And just there's so many treasures, and there's so much that can come from that, because like you say, like once you're kind of talked about it, was nearly like you're unboxing yourself there, you know, like that you had that small version of yourself. And then when you actually, it's like you come full circle and you kind of understand why you're here, you know, and then you start to just open that up and start
Mm,
to kind of
mm,
reveal it, you know, and it's just such a relief, you know,
it
because you know
is.
it's a feeling of being
Yeah.
expansive, you know, and that you want to share and you want to give and you want to serve and you want to help
Yes.
and you want to
And for the
grow.
right reasons, right? So you're not sharing and helping and giving
Yeah,
because you need to be validated or because you need to
yeah,
be accepted or because you need to be loved,
yes,
because that creates an abandonment of self actually. But
yeah,
you're sharing and giving from a full cup already. Your cup is
mm,
full and it's just like it goes where it needs to go,
yeah,
you know. And I think that that's beautiful. And talking about design, I feel that that's something that for me, and I didn't use those words, but this is exactly what I've thought often. It's like I really only have to do my emotional work. I need to understand my emotional needs, and I need to find them first, and I need to meet my own emotional needs and realize how they create my reality and influence my relationships. But the the life force itself does everything else. I'm actually moving back into the design of nature, which means
yeah,
I don't really have to make that happen. I don't have to become
yeah,
this awake person. I don't have to be. All I have to do is my work, and the design, my natural design, will flourish automatically without me. Because what gets in the way is all that emotion we haven't addressed. So once I move what's in the way, then my natural design shines through. I don't have to do anything about that. It's natural, you know, like,
yeah,
and look, we are our purpose. That is our purpose.
yeah.
You know, we keep looking out here for our purpose. No, we are our purpose. When we come into that,
Yeah.
everything falls into place. It's like, that is the purpose.
To be yourself, you know?
Yep, yep, I
In
know.
the truest sense of the word, you know, and I was thinking of it as like a sprinkler, you know, when you have it in the garden, you have a sprinkler and you just, the water starts coming out all in this beautiful, kind of like a fountain. And it's
Yeah,
like, you know, when you're kind of coming from here, it's always coming, you know,
that's
it's
right.
always full. There's always more to give, but you're not giving from an empty place. It's coming from the source where you are, you know, rather than outside where before, you know, for me, like I was complete pleaser. So it was kind of like a sense of duty or maybe
Yes.
conditioning that I felt I had to do everything to please other people because that was my purpose. I thought that was my purpose.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I thought that I was doing what, and you know, I couldn't understand for a long time. That was so hard for me actually, though, to understand that actually I wasn't serving myself. And you know, to get permission, give yourself permission and realize actually I had to turn upside down.
Yes,
And
that's exactly
to,
right. It's upside
yeah,
down.
yeah,
Mm,
you
mm.
know, and to give yourself the permission and
Permission.
give other women permission that you need to, you know, to find that
Mm.
true self is where everything will come from. It's not that it's selfish. It's actually you're going to be able to bring so much more to the world and be happier and healthier all round. Really, you know,
Yes,
once you, when
so
you,
true.
yeah, you find that calling.
Oh my gosh, we could talk about this for hours and hours. But let's not, because we're trying to keep this to 15
Yeah.
minutes. I'm going to say hello to Adam, who's joined us again today, and
Oh, lovely. Hi,
glad it's
Adam.
really landed on you well. That's really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. So thank you all for joining us. We have our first live teaching coming up this week from the Diamond Mother Ring. It's about stillness and listening, but actually the reason we're teaching this is to help mums that are experiencing issues of secrecy, isolation, and depression in their daughters, because what we're going to teach actually will help you directly deal with and address those issues that you may be facing with your teenage daughter. And really, it's going to help you in your life. It's going to bring you back to your true self. So we would love to invite you to come along. You can see the links to it all over the place on our social media platforms. And Carolyn, is there anything else that we need to share?
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's kind of like a little mini retreat because I know a few women have said that they're interested in doing retreat with us, like, you know, and it is like that because we're teaching
Mm,
stillness and how to come home to yourself and giving you practices around that and kind of talking about what that is and kind of an introduction into it. So like if you resonate with us and you feel that that's something that you feel that calling that you want to try and discover in yourself, it'd be a fantastic you know, event to join us on, and it's happening next week on the 3rd of March on my birthday. So
Awesome.
extra special for you
That's
and
right.
me.
The 4th of March, if you are in the Southern Hemisphere,
Okay,
which
yes.
is not Carolyn's birthday, sadly.
Thanks for that, Lisa. We keep each other on the right track, don't we?
Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks,
Hope you have a
everyone.
beautiful day or evening.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Have a lovely weekend. Bye.